Jumbo Scampi. For limited...
All for a price that will make you...
How the hell am I supposed to pay?
You're listening to BAMF, UK Comic Book Radio.
Hello everyone, welcome to BAMF Comic Book Radio, your number one podcast for news, reviews and odd points views. I am your host, Bert Kempson, and with me today are your other hosts, Lucas. Say hello, Lucas.
Hello.
Fee, say hello, Fee.
Hello.
And Sarah, say hello, Sarah.
Hello.
We're going to jump straight in. We've got a big chunky show for you, 3 weeks worth of stuff to talk about, you lucky animals, you. So let's jump straight in with some news. Sarah and Fee, handle the news.
This week there's been so X Factor 260 came out, and there's only 2 more issues left after this one until it ends, and we might have got a little hint in this issue that maybe, possibly, X Factor isn't going to come to an end after all. Possibly, it might be being rebooted as the next Marvel Now phase, or Marvel Now 2, which we know that there's going to be a few more new series, starting with Mighty Avengers this autumn. So it could be a relaunched X Factor. So X Factor 260 showed Lorna, or Polaris, sitting in a bar, getting drunk, sort of drowning her sorrows a bit over the events that have been happening. And then Quicksilver, who's her brother, obviously turns up and tries to help her, and they have a bit of a fallout, shall we say, a little bit of a fight. And then towards the end, a character called Harrison Snow, I think it is, turns up. Some mysterious, dark, shadowy figure turns up and invites Lorna to come along and says he's starting up a brand new thing called X Factor. So it's all very mysterious, so we don't know, but we'll have to wait and see whether that means we'll get a new or rebooted X Factor series as part of Marvel Now 2. And other Marvel news this week, we've had the extended version of the Thor: The Dark World trailer has come out. Has everybody seen it? You guys seen it? Yeah.
I've seen it.
Very exciting. Yeah, it looks really, really good. We had a smaller teaser trailer a few weeks ago, even a couple of months ago, I think it might have been, which didn't give too much away. This one shows a bit more. I think we're going to see a lot more of Asgard in this film. Which
Did I see that Jane was in Asgard?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that looks exciting.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. So we see a lot of... we know the film was being filmed in London, and it looks like a lot of it's actually going to be taking place in London. Greenwich, we saw actually getting torn apart, which looks quite interesting. And yeah, but a lot more Asgard, and Loki, obviously. So whatever the threat is, that we're not... I don't think the trailer makes that quite clear what the actual threat is, but Thor needs Loki's help to defeat it. But of course, Loki being Loki and the god of mischief, you can't quite trust him as far as you can throw him. But yeah, it looks really good. I'm really looking forward to it. I really enjoyed the last Thor film. I enjoyed it more than Captain America, actually. So yeah, I did. I really did. But this one really does look like it's sort of gone up another level. I don't know what you guys thought.
I think it looks great. Yeah. Sorry.
I'm really excited for it. No, so I bet didn't you there, Sarah? Mega excited for it. Oh, and again. Go on, Sarah.
Okay. And one thing I noticed about the trailer, I think it looks like Sif and Frigga are probably going to have bigger roles in it, which I was quite pleased about, because I know in the first film, I mean, Frigga, I can't remember what her official name is in it, she was barely in it. I don't think she was even named in it, and I thought that was a bit of a shame. But it looked like in the trailer there's bits of her fighting, wielding a sword, fighting some things. That made me excited, and lots of Thor, and a bit of topless Thor as well, which is always going to be exciting.
Yeah, looks like a lot more from a lot more characters. Volstag's got a bit more, but that one scene just hinted at more. Even Heimdall, Idris Elba's character, rather than playing a stoic, emotionless guy, it looked like in that little bit of dialogue there was a bit more. You know, in number one, every speech he had came out plain and like deadpan. But in this, there was just a bit more sort of Idris Elba in there, if you know what I mean.
Yes,
Really look
please,
forward
more
to it.
Idris, please. Lots of Idris, please.
I
Me
love
and Phil will
the
be happy with the film.
Yeah.
I love the hint at Avengers. I like that they're acknowledging that in each of the individual films. Well, obviously, they're not basing it on the Avengers. And with 4, it makes sense because of the main villain in Avengers was Loki.
Yeah.
Love that it's based on Walt Simonson's sort of ideas of the Dark Elves. So much good stuff. And, you know, it's going to be amazing. It's in London. It's going to be the best. It's right down the road from me, you know. I remember it. I remember it happening. Like there was a big storm cloud. A god came down the Cape. Proper messed up traffic. A hammer went flying past my house. I was well annoyed. But yeah, all in all, looking forward to it. And I'm hearing some stuff about the some scenes have been shown at the recent D23 Disney's Expo of Captain America, and someone hinted that it showcases a lot of Cap and his team being very stealthy, and I think it was hinted that there is a scene within Brubaker's run where they was like being stealthy and Cap was leading charge and Bucky was like slitting throats. So if it's anything like what was in Brubaker's run, it's going to be so good. Sorry to go off onto another film, but I'm just excited.
Okay, so
Lucas?
Lucas, have you seen it?
Yeah, no, I saw the trailer. I was a bit late on it, but told me about it a few days ago, and I was like, oh, cool, new 4-2 trailer. So I looked at it. Looks good. It looks pretty much almost the same as the last trailer, just you got to see more characters and more Loki. So I'm trying to, lately I've been trying to avoid trailers for films so I don't kind of spoil everything, because I can't help but try and predict everything that's going to happen in the film. So, good trailer. Not going to watch any more trailers.
Yeah, I think I'm the same with you now. Now I've seen that trailer, I've watched it once or twice, and I just want to leave it there now until I see the film, so I don't want to spoil anything else.
Got to give it to whoever is the sort of the marketing behind this, because there is a buzz going, but on very little things. We've had 2 trailers, and how long till the last film? Like 2 years ago. So the new film comes, 2 trailers, and we are literally like 3 months away from it being out. And by the time Man of Steel was 3 months away from launch, we had, about 10 different bloody trailers.
You could turn on the telly without seeing something else about it. It's really hard to avoid it. And I don't even watch telly, and I still find it difficult to avoid it. You know,
I do like how whoever's doing the Marvel marketing aren't ramming it down our throats of here's something, here's something, here's something, here's something. It's literally like there's buzz, here's a trailer, keep the buzz going, but let's not overdo it.
It feels like a teaser as opposed to a here's the plot, which is effective, I reckon.
Very effective. Right, what else we got?
We've got a couple of DC things which I'll talk about. We've got Kevin Maguire, who was going to be on Justice League 3000, announced on Thursday, I think it was, on his Twitter that he'd apparently just been sacked from it and he'd just found out. So, predictably, there was a lot of people going, oh my god, no, I can't believe this, blah, blah, but DC's sacking everybody. Why do they keep doing this? And then an article came out on Newsarama a couple of days later saying that it's Howard Porter who's going to be the new Justice League 3000 artist, and it's going to be, the first day is going to be actually going to be December. But it did, interestingly enough, have a quote from Kevin Maguire where he said, it sounds like he was a bit confused about it, but they actually, DC have offered him some other work, so it's not like they've just sacked him and that's it. There's going to be nothing more for him to do, and they've left on bad terms with somebody else they have been working with, who a lot of people actually really like. I mean, Maguire is pretty popular. So, I mean, I don't know what that means for if either the general public have got the wrong end of the stick about DC handle their staff changes or their creative team changes, or if it's just that this is a turning point. And I don't think we can really know because, we're never going to know what's going to be discussed behind closed doors. It's just all speculation. But I think it's a bit of a shame that Maguire isn't going to be on it. I was considering actually buying that, and now I'll have another think because I'm not quite so keen on Porter. But anyway, we'll see what it looks like.
From the perspective of like the people that aren't involved in the behind the curtain stuff, DC really aren't good at. This is the first time they've actually done the fire rehire with people like Andy Diggle and Joshua Fialkov. They never got put onto another project. They all got fired and then they had to go and find their own work somewhere else.
I think that is what they usually do, but I wonder if maybe it's just that they're not handling it very well in the media or not. I don't know. It just seems everything's so secretive, and because of the industry that it is, and that the fans are so invested in the creators, we get really up in arms and really upset when our favourite creators are fired. But we're not going to know what's happening behind, whether it was something that they knew about for ages, and maybe it's just someone saying on Twitter, "Oh my God, this is such a shock to me." We don't know if that's true or not. And DC don't send out press releases for what's happened, so that's what I mean. It's just we're not really going to know. But yeah, it can look pretty bad.
Okay. What was the other DC thing, Sarah?
The other DC thing. This I am slightly rather more annoyed with them about. Their Villains Month that's happening in September is shipping with was going to be with all these lovely 3D lenticular covers. I don't know if you guys have seen them or not. I mean, I think they really. I've always thought they're actually incredibly ugly. But never mind. I put in my order for the books that I wanted because so instead of doing every single issue. In their 52 titles with just focusing on a villain, what they've done, I think they're doing 8 Batman titles, 5 Superman titles, all focusing on villains. That's 3 Wonder Woman ones. For example, there's no Animal Man, the Justice League ones I think have been dropped, and it's all been a bit strange as to what they're doing, and it's really confused a lot of the comic shops as to what they're going to order, because they can't predict what the customers are going to order. So most places got that sorted out. My comic shop asked all the customers to put in exactly what they wanted, and if you didn't tell them in advance, then you wouldn't get it. Just an attempt to make sure they didn't go out of business was actually my comic shop's comments. And given that we're now just 2 weeks away, maybe 2 weeks away from September, DC have just announced that actually they haven't printed enough of these 3D covers. So actually shops are going to get about 50% 3D covers, 50% 2D covers.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with on Saturday with my local guy, and he was saying that
it's a fuck up.
some of these books are on allocation, so if he ordered 7 books or something a little while ago, they're going to give him 7 books, but only 2 or 3 of those will be 3D covers, leaving it up to him who he's got to give them to. Which is
shitty business for the comic stores. It really is. And that's even if the comic stores get their 50% allocation of what they normally order. Because some other reports that have come from line have said that some comic store owners have said, well, some of them I've got 80% of what I ordered of my allocation. Other ones have said, well, I've only had 10%. And it's just, I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know how DC managed to not print the right amount of covers. It just seems to be like a really bad business model. But I tend to think that about DC's work anyway in the last couple of years. But I don't understand how it's happened. And yeah, I went into my shop and said, look, if you get the 2D ones, I'd rather have those, but I don't really want to cause them any more hassle because, they've had there's been quite a head scratching moment for them about this. But it's really bad. It's really, really bad. I don't know what's gone on. I'd love to know, but
no one seems to know. I don't even think DC know what's going on. They just come up with an idea and then manage to squeeze it out somehow.
Yeah.
Without any real planning.
I'm hoping that I get all the books that I've ordered, but I don't know.
It seems like if you've ordered the books, you will get them, but you may not get. So if you went intended to get all the 3D covers, you might not get all the 3D covers. But by the sounds of it, you will get the books you wanted. They've got enough of the 2D standard versions, but not enough 3D. So there will be some disappointed people.
Well, my shop said something about they don't look like they were going to be getting any of their week 1 orders in. And I was like, what? How does that work? So I don't know.
God knows. On the bright side, if you are lucky enough to get a 3D cover, it will be worth a lot more than you bought it for.
Yeah, but it'll also be incredibly ugly.
Yeah, it will be ugly, but then you can get rid of it for a pretty penny. So you won't have to look at it anymore, you can look at the lovely money instead.
That's true. So it will be a speculator's market, despite DC saying that they didn't want to be a speculator's market.
This is what happens when the DC goes. DC sat down one day and went, guys, do you remember the 90s? We're going to bring it back.
As much as I love
scratched their heads.
The 90s covers in a very tacky way, and this is mostly for the X-Men stuff with the holograms and the foil covers, so we don't need any more of that.
No, we really don't.
90s.
Yes.
No more bad design, please. It's a visual art form. It should be nice looking.
As I always say, I'm the only good thing to come out of the 90s.
very true.
All right, what's the next on new agenda, guys? Hit me with it.
Well, I'm just going to touch on this. I don't want to get into it too much because, to be honest with you, I think we could just sort of go on about it too much. But something that's blown up quite a lot over the weekend is this. There was an article written for io9.com, and this is about the comments that Mark Millar has made this week about the use of rape in his comic books as a plot device, and also Todd McFarlane's alleged comments that comics aren't for girls. And this io9.com article has actually lumped these two things in together, and has basically written an article called "Ladies, Comics Aren't For You," and I think the article has confused some people. I think some people have thought that Mark Millar has been going around saying that ladies' comics aren't for you and that kind of thing, and actually he hasn't said that. And we were all trying to find a transcript of what was actually said by Todd McFarlane, Jerry Conway, and
Len
Wine, yeah. And I don't think any of us managed to find one, did we? So we don't want to comment on it too much because it would be unfair for us to put words into people's mouths. But the gist of it is, Mark Millar gave an interview, I think, that came out earlier this week.
Yeah, that was on the newrepublic.com.
That's right.
I can send. I'll put the link up to it on our Facebook group. So
yeah. And the full quote he actually gave was about using rape as a plot device in his comics. And the full quote he actually gave was, "The ultimate act that would be the taboo to show how bad some villain is was to have somebody being raped. You know, I don't really think it matters. It's the same as like a decapitation. It's just a horrible act to show that somebody's a bad guy." So I think that Mark Millar has used some very ill-advised words there. He has not phrased that very well at all. I can understand why lots of people have been very offended by that comment. But what people have taken from it really is they haven't actually sort of looked at what he was really trying to say, and they've actually just seized upon the part where he said, I don't think it really matters. Well, you know, it does matter actually. And to say that it doesn't is
it's naive.
A naive, a stupid thing to say, really.
I think it's a bit lazy because I don't think he's really thinking about the issues. That's why he said what he said. But having said that, it's not that I want him or anyone else to spend whenever they talk about something like that, to really sit down and think of a whole academic thesis about what they should be saying. But it does come across in black and white. It comes across, I think, lazy, ill-informed opinions, which I think is the problem, and that's why it's got a lot of people's backs up. But yeah, I think it's really unfortunate that it has been lumped in with the bits about and women don't like reading comics, because then it comes up. It looks like it's really like Mark Millar says he doesn't care if women get raped and they hate comics anyway, so who gives a fuck about them? And that isn't at all what he said.
It's not. It isn't what he said. Yeah, and I think although that article from IO9 makes some very valid points, I do agree with you, Sarah. I think the way that it's sort of been lumped together is actually maybe a little unfair. You know, I mean, having said that, do head over to io9.com and read the article. But you know, I think you need to actually go and look at what Mark Millar actually said.
Look at the original source material.
Yeah, and then look at the other side, the Todd McFarlane thing, and then actually sort of see what happened there. As I said, I think it's unfair of us to comment exactly on what was said there. The basic gist of it was that they were on a panel talking about an upcoming documentary on superhero comics, Wine, Conway and McFarlane, and they made some comments. And the thing is, we only have these comments but taken completely out of context from what was actually said. But they've sort of basically... well, the way that the IO9 article presents it is that they've said that women don't read comics because they're not interested in superhero characters. And you know, basically of saying that they aren't for women, they never have been for women, so, you know, why should they be for women? And McFarlane apparently said, I've got 2 daughters, and if I wanted to do something that I thought was emboldened to a female, I probably wouldn't choose superhero comic books to get that message across, mainly because it's too testosterone driven.
Sorry.
No, and again, it's just which is a stupid thing to say.
Well, I don't think it is so much, because I think there's so many different things you could mean by that. It just you need to extrapolate. You might say, well, other comics that maybe I prefer her to read other stuff. Maybe like, I'm just going to say Princess again because I say that every week. And maybe he thinks that there is a problem in superhero comics, that they are too testosterone, they are all about the men, and they don't present women in a positive light. But he didn't get a chance to say that, or if he did, that's not what's been reported on. So
Possibly.
There's so much other stuff behind there. I don't know these creators. It could be anything, and it's just, as you said, it's just out of context, and it's hard to comment on.
To me, it sounds like, for both these things, it sounds like maybe what you're both right about what McFarlane is saying. Maybe the genre itself just isn't as appealing as other genres to girls, if you know what I mean. Because I mean, personally, I know untold girls that I've put comics in front of, and they have always sort of steered towards something else that is that's not superhero like sort of based. I've got a cousin that loves Fables, and I've tried to get her to read all kinds of other stuff, but something like Fables would interest her more than something like Spider-Man or whatever. As for the Miller thing, completely badly worded. He didn't. Yeah, that just it does seem like he's trying to make rape as something that's not a big deal. But obviously it is, then that was just stupid. I don't know what to think of that. That was weird. Just basically, they're idiots for saying things the way they said them. You would never think these guys were writers and knew how to string words together.
Yeah, but you can't shoot them down for a couple of badly worded sentences, and that's, you know, there's more to them than some slightly stupidly expressed ideas.
Yeah, definitely. Just until we get the full picture, let's not jump the gun and shoot blindly at them when it's unfair to do that. Until they come out and say, oh yeah, no, what I said is what I meant, and what it sounds like is what I meant, then do it. But until then, just sort of wait and see. Okay, is that all the news, or is there more?
Nope, I think that's it.
I think that's it. It's been a nice quiet week. That's Lucas's theme tune for the news.
End of news music.
End of
news. It's not quite as hard hitting as BBC 24 Hour. You know, something like that, or CNN.
I tried to go for a more subtle tone.
Yeah, rather than like action news on the streets, like that.
Yeah.
Alright. So let's go into what we've been reading, guys. We've got 3 weeks, I'm about to say years, 3 weeks worth of stuff. Okay, it feels like 3 years. It's 3 weeks worth of stuff. If I may I start?
Yeah.
I've got loads to go on, but for the start, I'm just going to talk about one thing. Lately, I've been doing like catch-ups, so I've been holding things on, read them all in one. And one of the things is Matt Fraction's FF. I'm not reading Fantastic Four, but it feels like I should be, because the story at the moment, some issues apparently do link into some issues of Fantastic Four. But despite that, this is a really fun, well-told story that gets overlooked. I think it's got the Hulk syndrome. You know how the Mark Waid's Hulk is sort of outshone by Mark Waid's Daredevil. FF is kind of outshone by Hawkeye. And it is so much fun. It's got a sense of the old school Stan Lee, Jack Kirby era. It's even got appearances from Matt Fraction, Tom Brevoort and Mike Allred, like the old Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, can't get my words out, cameos did. And it's got the over-the-top villains, but it's also got this dysfunctional family storyline going through, exploring like the kids of the Future Foundation, the adults with Scott Lang and his grief, you know, Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk, and love life, and all this weird, wacky stuff going on, while real life scenarios are going on at the same time, and it's just so much fun. Beautiful art by Allred. I think it's really good Allred as well, like the ecstatic stuff from the past. Proper on form, and I genuinely don't know why I don't know if people are like, people just don't praise it enough. It's just got everything you need. It's got wackiness, but it's got seriousness. It's got a bit where Hipster's beard gets set on fire. And in the latest issue, Matt Fraction and the team got shrunk down to microscopic size, and then were chased and stalked by a giant tiger.
Yeah, it was mental.
It was weird.
This issue, it was absolutely mental. It's self-referential. It was postmodern, and it was meta.
Thank you for getting these words out better than me. I'm stumbling on my words today.
It was just it was just crazy, but it was brilliant as well. Yeah. I read so many comments from people after they'd read the issue, just going, "Wow, like what was that? I'm not sure what it was, but it was brilliant." All the
wildest weird, like in this particular issue, wildest weird stories going on. There's another story run alongside it where the Future Foundation kids, or at least a small handful of them, are talking to Black Bolt's brother Maximus, and there's like this weird like word game going on where there's like 21 questions but with a sinister undertone, and it's really creepy and really weird. And then at the end, spoilers. At the end, he's like released from this prison, and it's so while that's going on, Matt Fraction's talking about it actually like that kind of scenario happening, and I can't say it, I don't know what I'm saying. Basically, Matt Fraction's talking about the story as the story is going on.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Very clever, really, really clever pieces of writing.
And I do think it's getting overlooked by Hawkeye and some other books, and I really think that it's worth reading just for the sheer weirdness of it and the lovely moments. The latest issue was, let me find it, 12, I think.
Because I was getting FF, and then I ended up dropping it because it wasn't quite good enough, although it was really good fun. But maybe I'll try that, pick that one up. It's that much fun.
Let me check. I've got, for all the big stuff and the meta, there are the beautiful moments, like, I think we mentioned it previously in one of the older shows. There's a moment where Scott Lane wakes up and he's talking to a picture on his phone of his daughter. And it's like a really sort of heartbroken moment of, this is a man who's broken, and Reed Richards thought he could fix him by throwing him in looking after kids after him losing his own. Really, really...
Great idea, Reed.
but the heart was in the right place, if you know what I mean, because he's obviously a father.
And I think Fraction writes Scott Lang beautifully. I really do. He's got that real sense of, like you said, like a broken man. He's a father who's lost his daughter. And there have just been some really small, lovely moments throughout the series so far that have really got that across.
Yeah, definitely.
And you can tell that doing this has helped Scott. It is helping him.
Oh, okay.
You're not sort of there reading it thinking, oh God, this is the worst thing that they could have got Scott to do. I think you really are thinking, you know what, this is helping him. It is a healing process, and it is working. That's the sense I'm getting from it, anyway.
Yeah, it was FF issue 10 was the latest one.
Okay.
But yeah, it's really, really good. Please pick it up, Maisie. Please pick it up and let us know what you think about it. Alright, guys. I'm not going to hog it. I'll come back around to me. But what about you guys? What have you been reading?
Sarah, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. So a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about X-Men stuff, all the stuff I've been given. I finished all the X-Men stuff, and then I moved on to Legion of Superheroes, because that's another great thing to start reading when you don't know a lot about it.
You are mental.
In my defence, I just thought, I've got these here, I need to read things, I need to get rid of them. Let's read the one I'm probably not going to really like. I've tried getting into the Legion before. I've hated them. They just, for those people that don't know, they're a group of teenage superheroes set in, I think it's like the 31st or 35th century, and they've all got ridiculous names like Lightning Lass, Matter-Eating Boy, Triplicate Girl, Sun Boy. It's just, it's stupid. It's ridiculous. I know they were designed for kids in the Silver Age, but I just can't get past it, and it's just daft. So I wasn't immensely looking forward to reading this lot, but then I picked it up. I told people online are reading it, and it appears to be something called 5 Years Later, which is set 5 years after some big war in the area they live in among the Federation of United Planets, and I think some people died, other people didn't. I don't really know. I don't really care, to be honest. This series is actually really, really good. It's far more about a sort of. It's got much more of a sci-fi feel to it than a superhero feel. The bits of the early issues was reminding me actually for some reason a bit of Blade Runner, which might just show that I don't watch a whole lot of sci-fi films if that's my only reference point. But it was this sort of dark, sort of dystopian future with people a bit miserable. They've had this 5 years of the Legion characters haven't been superheroes and just been getting on with life. It's everyday stuff. And I really liked that. They don't have any of their stupid costumes. They're not called by their stupid code names. The powers didn't really come into it. There's a lot of like political struggly stuff going on. It's really quite solid. It's really good. The bits, handily enough, at the end of each issue, they've got a summary of what's gone before for the letters page, and it's things like the Kundish army have been using a weapon called the Red Terror to cause mass insanity across entire populations in order that they can control them, or something. And then you've got something called the Dominators that have overrun Earth or infiltrating Earth, or something. I have no idea about the background to these guys, but it's presented in a really interesting way, and I have really got into it. The first set of issues, I mean, I think I've got like 50 issues of this to get through, and the first 6 or so are all in a all the art is in a 9-panel format. Like I think Watchmen was like 9-panel as well, which does actually mean it takes a hell of a lot longer to read, and there's a lot more information, and you get a lot more story per page, but it does make it quite heavy going. But it's still worth it, I think. I was talking to a friend on Twitter. I tweeted a picture of it about matter-eating lad. I don't know what his real name is. I can't believe I'm going to say that stupid code name. He was stuck somewhere, and it was there. He was like, well, if we need to get out, I'm just going to have to eat through my shackles. And he's just got a picture. The art. He's just sitting there eating on these manacles around his wrist. And I gather that he can eat anything. And
he's matter-eater, lad. If he's matter, he can eat it.
And you can eat your way out of anything, and I just this ridiculous concept, but for some reason in this series it works. My friend Captain Fabric, she asked, is this a good place to start for superhero comics? And I'm like, well, I'm not entirely sure. Some of the writing's really interesting, but it's a bit heavy. It's quite dense going. It's not really a superhero comic so much as it is about this huge political landscape in the 31st century. It's good. It's an example of good quality comic writing, and it probably is worth maybe picking up a few issues, having you go, seeing if you like it or not. But I wouldn't really say it's a good introduction to DC Universe, just because hasn't really got a whole lot of stuff to do with usual continuity. And
does it require a knowledge of the previous stuff, or could you jump straight in?
It doesn't require a knowledge of previous Legion stuff, because I don't have that. So I sat there going, well, I don't know who all these people are. There's hundreds of them. I barely know the names, but I'm just enjoying it for what it is, which is good, I think. Because if I had required the knowledge of the previous stuff, or was like previous Legion things, I wouldn't be interested. So, yeah, I think it's a good standalone series.
I've got to hand it to you. You are one brave lass, because within the month or so you've been reading these books you've been given, you decided to take the 2 franchises that have the most complicated back history and just jump straight in.
Well,
you jumped into 90s X-Men, which is brave beyond words, and now Legion.
Awesome.
See, and you're liking them as well. If it was me, I would have probably just gone, please, just stop and just put them down and walked away.
I like diving into huge long runs. If you just give me a couple of issues from something, I'm not going to get that interested in it. But if you give me 60, 100 issues or something and say, read this, I will do my best to read through it and go, right, okay, I like this. I like the big, long, convoluted, epic stories. I like the one-shots as well, but I like it where it feels like the writer's got a game plan. I felt like that about James Robinson's Starman, and this is what the Legion feels like. It's like it's got this huge, long plan, and it's not just that somebody's been brought in, they do 6, 10, 15 issues, and they're just doing it for the job. It feels like they really know where they're going with it. Good.
Okay.
Yeah. I like it.
Good.
Anyway, that's me. Other stuff isn't anywhere near as exciting as that, so. Who's next? Lucas?
It would be me indeed. So, trying to remember what I've read over the past 3 weeks.
I can remind you if you want. You've read Batman,
I am probably
Batman,
going to need
Superman, Avengers, Guardians. The
Right.
Avengers...
We'll go with Avengers AI. So
Yeah, oh
Avengers
yes,
AI
I'm
issue
joining you
2.
on this one, mate.
Right, how good was that? Right?
Oh man, it was just. I keep saying it was heartbreaking.
The bit
It
with the
was heartbreaking.
Sentinel. Well, I'll give a quick rundown.
Give the rundown.
After the events of Age of Ultron, Hank Pym is drafted into putting together a team to stop this AI that has kind of come out of the virus that he used to kill Ultron, which people went back in time and told him to do. So it's all time travel and stuff. But basically, there's this virus going around taking control of like US military systems, things like UAV drones and things like that, and using them to attack like the government. So Hank Pym's been tasked with putting together this team, which consists of a Doombot, Victor Mancha, who is Ultron's son, the Vision.
Vision.
Yeah.
Who is Ultron's son.
Yeah, who's also brother, son, brother thing.
Yeah, son, brother to Victor.
Oh, okay, there we go.
And this new lady, whose name has escaped me.
Yep.
Monica Chang.
No, Monica Chang, yes, the new Shield agent.
Alexis.
Alexis, that's the one.
There we go.
Yeah.
And yeah, so their whole plan is to stop these kind of attacks and find out what's behind it. So yeah, it's cool. Doombot is awesome.
Just to clarify, this villain is going by the name Demetrios, and it is the virus that Hank Pym used to stop Ultron has gained sentence, and basically Hank Pym just can't catch a break.
Yeah.
But this one actually is better than Ultron.
Yeah, this virus, its whole thing, it seems to have activated every kind of bit of AI is saying that, you know, it's all a machine, it's all a sentient thing. And so it's punishing humanity for taking liberties. I don't know.
It's basically just toying with, rather than doing the Ultron thing of I'm just going to exterminate you all, it's like I'm just going to toy with you. It's taken over. A little while ago there was an Iron Man story where his suit became sentient and tried to attack him and whatnot. So it's now using that as its body, and it's done a thing in this series, this issue, where it cleared out 1 in 10 bank accounts or something like that, and then gave 1 in 1,000. No, cleared out 1 in 1,000, and then gave 1 in 10 the money that those people lost, and their home addresses. So anyone that lost their money can now find the people that have got their money, and tear each other to pieces and whatnot. And it's all bonkers, but underneath, like, while that's happening, this game plan, he activates a giant sentinel who's attacking Washington DC.
Yeah, it's like a secret prototype mutant killing sentinel.
It's living in under the ocean, all like, I'm a submarine, and all this. And then it treks out, just tries to destroy in Washington DC. Vision shows up, gives it its own mind, and then in a heartbreaking thing, it stops attacking Washington. This is all spoilers, by the way. I'm getting into it. And it starts questioning why is it doing this? Why is it hurting humans? It protects humans, and then the humans attack it.
Yeah, it's a really sad moment.
Yeah, because it's the Washington Monument starts falling because of it, and then it starts holding the Washington Monument up. It gets attacked, and it's like, why are they attacking me?
Yes, I was created to protect humans.
And Vision just rests down in front of it and basically apologises to it for giving it its own mind before it gets taken away. And it just sort of showed you that robots have hearts too, man. You know, stroke your iPhone. Give it a pat on the back.
I'm going to stroke it right now, but...
I said your iPhone. I said your iPhone, man. God's sake, man, Lucas. Anyway,
sorry,
really,
it's an emotional moment, but it was
really beautiful. Beautiful art. I'm ignoring this.
I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. I read it as well, and I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong, it's good. But I can't help but thinking, have I not seen this story 100 times before?
Oh yeah, you've seen it before.
Ultron. And then I was sort of like going, you know, where it's like, right, you know, I have sentience, the end of humanity. It's like I've seen this so many times before, and I was reminded of Ultron, and also of I don't know if anybody read Remender's Secret Avengers arc about the Adaptoids and Father. Did any of you guys read that?
I didn't actually. I didn't.
And like the same kind of thing happened there with that. You know, where you have androids and technology gaining sentience and just, you know, wiping out humanity and that kind of thing. It's not exactly the same, but it's the same idea.
Well, yeah, I can get what you mean by the same idea. I think everything with a rogue AI ends in human destruction, like
Yeah.
to call on Doctor Who and all that with the bloody Cybermen. That's a
Also
classic
Terminator.
thing. And the Terminator, it is a classic thing that, you know,
Yeah.
robots take over. But for this book in particular, I think I'm looking at the moments like where the Sentinel gets its own like mind, and the things that Demetrius is doing. Funny enough, I was saying to Lucas earlier in the week, it's not a straight up, like I said just now, it's not a straight up I'm going to kill you. It's a I'm going to show you what I can do.
Yeah, I mean, to me, if I'm going to carry on with it, it's going to have to start showing me how it's different from how Demetrius is different from Ultron.
Well, his name
know
is Demetrius.
Well, yeah, apart from being called
Need
Demetrius.
more than
Sorry,
that.
that was a cheap joke. I don't know why I did it. I'm sorry. Don't hurt me.
But whatever, but that's the point, though, that I'm making. That are they not, in effect, the same?
What's
thing?
going to happen, okay, is Demetrius is going to take over the world, and then Wolverine's going to go back in time and kill Demetrius, and then shatter the time, tell Hank Pym about it, after killing Hank Pym, and then Hank Pym comes back, kills Demetrius, and then another one comes.
Let's not go there again.
Alright then.
Age
of Demetrius. Anyway, sorry Lucas, we butted in on what you were saying there.
Yeah, no, well, you pretty much said everything, didn't you guys? Thanks for
I
that.
couldn't help myself. I love this book so much.
Yeah, no, it is really good. But the other thing was the Batman Annual. Woo. Which was also just a nice little story. Kind of, Batman gets beaten up by an old lady.
Battered by an old lady.
Proper
Literally
battered,
shit
like,
off.
mentally and physically. But the,
What's Batman's weakness? Old ladies.
yeah, old ladies. Old ladies with...
Who is the old lady?
She's called the Anchoress. She's basically she's been in Arkham. She's like they literally just created her just for this. She's been in Arkham Asylum since time began, by the looks of
She's
things.
actually one of the first inmates of Arkham back when Jeremiah Arkham created the asylum.
Okay.
But yeah, so she was really happy there. She was getting treatment because she had like some kind of superpower which allowed her to kind of like phase through things and kind of affect people's minds and stuff like that. So she's at Arkham Asylum, she gets treatment, and then when Batman showed up and started, you know, chucking all the people like the Joker in there, it started like she wasn't getting any treatment, and they were trying to treat these other like new crazies, and they turned like basically she was saying that Batman's turned Arkham Asylum into the hellhole that it is now, and it was a much nicer place before.
I
So,
like this lady.
yeah, so
Sorry.
on this, of course, on one coincidental night, Batman is there helping the Arkham guys test the defenses of their place. So he's basically saying, "This bar is shit. This wall is shit. Your security is shit. I'm Batman. I'm dodging all your shit." And then
Blue, you just stuck me with his shit.
yeah, and so this random security guard who's like fresh in the job, it's his first day, talks to this lady, and she's like, "The Batman's here now, isn't he?" And she's like, "Right, I'm gonna go kill Batman." And just kind of like goes off, hunts him down while he's in the middle of testing Arkham security. And yeah, she beats him up. She shows him all of his kind of like past failings, the death of Robin twice, death of his parents. Basically, beat him up in the mind, then beat him up physically. And then she gets shot by a guard and chases Batman up to the roof. And there's this weird, supposedly symbolic moment where she just screams and shouts at Batman and he just stands there like a wall. And then it's over.
Yeah. It's like he defeats her with a
Yeah, with
stare.
a bat stare. So old women can beat up Batman, but he can beat them with the bat stare.
Maybe it was more like a pervert stare.
Yeah,
And then it freaked her out. It was like, no, you go.
maybe he just started singing to her, trying to serenade her. But you know, he's Batman. I'm pretty sure.
I love you, old lady. If it's quite alright, I love you, old lady. And then she was like, fuck off.
But yeah, no. So yeah, no, it was good. It was a nice kind of one issue thing.
It was really nice, especially with the 0 year thing going on. And it was less tied into 0 year than the previous annual, which was tied a bit more into the Night of the Owls that was going on with
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze. It was really, really nice. I like those little breakups when there's a lot of stuff going on, like this mini event in Batman and stuff. It's like a nice palate cleanser. And it wasn't written by Snyder as well. I think it was. I can't remember.
No, it was
who created
Snyder.
It was.
Yeah.
Snyder. Okay, I thought it was written by someone else. I thought it was one of his students wrote it. Okay, my bad. But yeah, really worth checking out. Yeah.
But yeah, and
Say,
of
what
course,
you been reading? Oh,
well,
sorry.
I've got one
Go
more
for it.
thing, which is Guardians of
You
the
go for that.
Galaxy. The whole
Boom,
kind of
talk about it.
introduction of Angela thing and all that. So it's
Oh,
Angela's. It's Angela's. Oh, sorry.
I know, I'm going to disappear for a minute and then come back. Spoilers, spoilers!
Oh yeah,
No,
Oh,
not yet.
you're reading.
Oh, okay.
She's doing what you did and reading the whole stuff.
I am. I'm reading all the space stuff. I am
Okay.
actually making progress now.
Well, I can kind of keep it spoiler free.
Okay.
So it's basically just kind of like the Guardians version of what happens after the Age of Ultron wrap up. And so Star-Lord feels some stuff going wrong in his mind. He goes off and does a thing, and then Angela and Gamora, Angela and Gamora end up fighting for no apparent reason, just because she's there, and they have like a sexy cat fight on a planet somewhere
In space.
in space. Both in no, Angela's got quite a skimpy outfit. Gamora's a nice girl. She's covered up and stuff. But either way, I wasn't complaining. It was they were just fighting, and then at the end of it, Star-Lord meets somebody, and that's that. That's my.
Can I just say, I'm so happy for Lucas, because I think he's been waiting for this particular issue, not just because of the cat fight, but because of what happens in it for so long. I'm just happy for him.
Yeah. It's,
When he showed me the book, I was just pleased for him.
I'm gonna say it's almost a tie into infinity. So yeah, go read it, guys. How's that for a spoiler-free review? Star-Lord does a thing, and then says a thing, and then meets a thing. While Angela
And it also
Gamora
had
have a thing.
Neil Gaiman co-writing. It was the first issue of Neil Gaiman's co-writing. I think he's doing 3 or 5 issues. I think Angela's only actually appearing for 3 or 5 issues, and then she's off somewhere. God knows where.
But yeah, so that's what I've been reading.
Yeah. I hope we haven't just spoiled it, but for Fee, but try not to spoil it.
No, that's fine. I wasn't really listening to you, so
That's okay. Nobody really does, you know.
Yeah, no one
I just
listens.
glazed over for a moment there, but I'm back now.
That's fine. Well, anyway, Fee, it's your turn, so take it away.
Okay, so this week I read Trillium by Jeff Lemire, which I just picked up because I heard loads of people saying how good it was. So, and it's a limited series. I think it's going to be 8 issues altogether. And I'm all for any limited series at the moment, rather than adding any more continuing series onto my plate at the moment, because I've got enough of those going on. And it sounded really interesting, so I thought I'd pick it up. So the premise basically is it's set in the future, and the human race has basically been wiped out by a virus. And we've been sort of like pushed away from Earth and into the outer reaches of space and stuff. And we've discovered the ability to maybe find a vaccine or a cure for this virus via a flower, which is where I think that's the Trillium name is the name of the flower that may provide this vaccine. And they found it on this sort of like little planet. But the problem is it's inside a compound which is sort of ruled by natives, and they can't really get to it, so they're sort of like entering into negotiations with the natives of the planet, and then this is a comic. I know we always say, like, I don't want to give like, sometimes we'll give spoilers and sometimes we don't. I really don't want to give a spoiler for this one, actually, and there is a point to that, because there is something that happens in this that is a really good hook, a really good twist, and I think it is one of those things that happens that would sort of spoil your reading of it if you knew about it in advance. So I don't want to go into exactly what happens, but the comic is also the issue is kind of divided into 2 halves, if you like. And the first half is dealing with this, with the story of the flower and the virus and the negotiations with the people on the planet. And the second half of the story is something else completely. And then this second half of the story meets up with the first half of the story. I know that all sounds a little bit vague, but it was a really, really good story. I'm definitely going to pick up the next one because of the hook at the end. But for those of you who've picked up a paper copy, you would have realised that it's actually sort of like a a flip story, for want of a better phrase. So you could actually read it either way. So you could start with the space story that I just talked about, or you could start with the other story, and both halves of the same story meet in the middle. So if you pick up a paper version, you can either read it from one side, or you can flip it over and read the other story, and you'll reach the same conclusion in the middle of the book if you like. So it was really clever idea, but a good example of sort of how reading it digitally, you're not going to get the same effects as you would with a paper copy. My only negative about it really is the art. Jeff Lemire's basically, this is his kind of show. He's written it and he's drawn it, and I think it's pretty much his baby. Apart from, I think there's somebody else has done the colours, I think. And he has a very, very distinctive style, which I think you either like or don't like. I think it is quite Marmite. I'm not that keen on it, I'll be honest. It's not particularly my cup of tea, but the story was that good that I can, I can live with it. It's not enough to put me off reading it any further. Is anyone familiar with Jeff Lemire's style at all? I know he's done quite a lot of stuff for DC.
Yeah, he's done. And Essex County was his first thing, and he done Underwater Welder.
Yeah.
It's a very unique style he's got. It's not like, it is genuinely like his own thing. It's like, I couldn't say it's like anyone. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is difficult to compare him to anybody else. I can't think of anybody who stands out that I would necessarily compare him to. As I said, it's not that it's bad or anything. It's just that it's his own style, and I can understand like the people who love it would love it. For me, as I said, it's just not my favourite style of art. But it's a really, really, really good first issue. Very, very strong start, and I really recommend it.
I am going to say, I love the old school design of it. It's set in the future, but they've still got like glass bowls around their heads.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like very like old school science fiction, which is my favourite like style. I love retro science fiction. It's genuine. That is truly why I love Hank Pym and all that, because he's pure retro with the giant ants and the bulky helmet, and I love all that.
And I do think that you would really like it, but I
did ask you about it earlier. Based on what you told me earlier, I have downloaded it. I've got it with me now. I just got to sit down and read it.
Be interested to hear what you think.
We'll give it a read and talk about it next week.
Yeah, talk about it next week. So so that was good. Definitely recommend that. And then I've read loads of stuff. Rather than go on and on. I'll pick probably the thing that I've enjoyed most reading, which was Superior Photos of Spider-Man 2. I spoke about the first issue when it came out a few weeks ago. I really, really liked. So it's something, on paper it shouldn't work. The comic about B-list Spidey villains, the new Sinister Six, Boomerang, Shocker, Speed Demon, Beetle, and Overdrive. And it's by Nick Spencer and Steve Lieber. And it's this second issue for me, again, I just thought it was really funny. It really appeals to my sense of humour. I like it very, very much. And I've read a few people today, well, over the course of since Wednesday, saying that they've read it and they thought it was good, but, maybe weren't sure that they were going to keep up with it. I think, with that thing of, can this set of B-list villains keep my interest for an ongoing? But really, the writing is that good that I really think it can. I think you should give a chance to sort of stick with it. It's really good, and Steve Lieber's art is fantastic. He just drops these little things in here, like these just little things. There's the best thing in the issue for me was Boomerang is talking to his lawyer. He's having a conversation with his lawyer about getting out on bail, and his lawyer's gone off and had a nice holiday at Boomerang's expense, and Boomerang has this little sort of fantasy in his head about chopping off the lawyer's head with one of Boomerang's, and it's drawn in sort of like a little four-page little panel sequence where he's sort of like having this daydream in his head. It's hard to explain. I'll put it up on our Tumblr page so people can see it. But it's just done in a little sort of like diagram, cartoony style, and it's really good and it's very, very funny. But yeah, I'll definitely put that up. That's my panel of the week for this week anyway, so I'll stick it up on Tumblr. But it's really good, really, really good.
I'll second that.
Yeah, and any of the, all of the other superior stuff, I'm afraid, has fallen by the wayside for me because I'm just so bored of it. But this feels really fresh and new and funny.
Do you know what my one problem with the book is? There's two characters on the team, Shocker and Beetle. The female Beetle was introduced in Brubaker's Captain America, where she was a bit of a threat. She was like this operative spy lady, and she does in the book seem like the most sort of in charge, She seems like the one that could probably do the most damage. But Shocker, do you remember the days when Shocker used to be a badass, and he would sharpen and be like, oh shit, Shocker's here. And now he's just this bumbling idiot that's just like, shits himself and runs away all the time.
Yeah, well,
the first issue where he got beat
I wonder where Nick Spencer's going with this, because I've had the same sort of feeling as you about that, but I wonder whether he's sort of like positing them as bumbling idiots for a reason where something's going to happen
they
further
turn
down.
around and just like, fuck you, we're the Sinister Six.
Yeah,
we're five of us.
Where I don't know, maybe they managed to put it together to do certain things or whatever, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I think it's really funny and really well done.
And Speed Demon remains my favourite character in the whole book.
Yeah, it's really good.
She's just always got the best lines.
Yeah, but it's got. Somebody said to me today that it feels like it's almost got that Hawkeye feel to it. It
has. It's just street level what they're doing when they're not doing what they do.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. It's just what they do on their day off, or even then when they're just on their downtime. And for supervillains, it just happens to be meetings and more meetings.
Yeah, but yeah, it's pretty good. So.
Yeah. All right, I'll just swing back to me and talk about a book that is ending soon. It's Journey into Mystery. It's been going for a while, and I've collected it all up, and read it in one sitting. And it is the Catherine Inman, Valerio Schiti, and Geordie Belair, and Clayton Cowell. I'm going for the whole team because all of them together make a really beautiful and well-told book, story, whatever. And it's ending soon, which has broken my heart a bit because this is a really fun book. It carries on that fun flippantness of the Loki story by Kieran Gillen and the team, but it carries it on with Lady Sif. And the story is Gaia, the Earth Mother's dying. She takes them to Venus, where it's secluded and she can get like the rest she needs. Beta Ray Bill shows up, and basically just calamity ensues with them two sort of being awkward with each other because they're ex-boyfriend and girlfriend, and the awkwardness that comes with it. And it's just fun swashbuckling stuff. There was a previous story where Lady Sif was teaming up with these berserker warriors that were shunned away on an island to fight demons or beasts all the time, and they'd lived happily. And Lady Sif joined in and was kicking ass. And it's just so much fun. The stories are a bit confusing. I would love to try and tell you what's actually happening in this story at the moment, but until I finish it, I'm a little bit confused. But there are some fun jokes, and the art is lovely, and the character isn't portrayed as this damsel or this slutty lady and whatever. She's wearing hot pants, but it looks very 60s-esque in the hot pants and the long sleeves, sort of whatever she's wearing, lady top. Are they called lady tops? They're called lady tops. And she's just kicking ass, and it's so much fun. She outshows the men in the book. Beta Ray Bill shows up, and Beta Ray Bill's the incompetent one that's just sort of babbling over. If anything, he's crying over the death of his spaceship, Scuttlebutt. And she's just like sort of put it together. We've got something to do, and she's going around this facility that Stark has made, trying to figure out. It's kind of like Aliens, because there's something infecting Gaia, the Earth Mother, and causing her to be possessed. And it's on Venus. It's very weird, but it's very, very beautiful looking and very well told and so much fun. And there's jokes that aren't in jokes, but if you've got a knowledge of the characters, you'll get. but are still funny if you look at it as ex-boyfriend and girlfriend. And it's ending, and I can't believe it's ending. I can't believe people aren't buying this book. It's so well put together, and the team on it have so much fun. The letter pages are brilliant. There was a letter page a little while ago where it was the letter and the artist, Geordie Belair and Clayton Cowles, and they were answering the questions, and you could tell they were just having so much fun on the book. And when it was announced that it got cancelled, the whole team sort of was tweeting to each other how like sort of upset they were. That this was something, it wasn't a paycheck to them, it was genuinely something they put loads of effort in. And something like that should be going on and on. It's not just another book that you don't have to read, but I'll double dip on this book as well. I'll get it digitally because I can't wait to go to a comic store and I pick it up when I go to a comic store. I've got it double, you know what I mean? And this is me spilling words out. I'm really rubbish today, guys. But I just recommend going back and reading it. From when the latest stories started up until now, so much fun. And I'm desperately hoping that with the rumoured Marvel Now 2, this will get relaunched in a new kind of way, or at least the creative team will get something that I can jump onto, because wherever they go, I think from now on I'm going to go. Brilliant stuff. Check it out if you get a chance. And it's a strong female character, so you can't moan that Marvel don't try strong female characters. It's just that people don't buy it, and they should. So in your faces, I'm going to make you feel guilty. They should feel guilty, alright? Every time someone goes to Tom Brevoort, why don't you do women books? Because they keep getting cancelled. She-Hulk got cancelled, now this is getting cancelled. God forbid Captain Marvel gets cancelled. I just finished reading that stuff, and Kelly is really good on that.
Mm. Yeah, I've just a few of that, the Captain Marvel Kelly Sue stuff. It's the first trade particularly is brilliant.
She's a brave lass, Kelly Sue, because she started a time travel story.
Yeah, but it was so slick and so well done, and a wonderful introduction to it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I would say Jones Mystery, the latest stuff, and Captain Marvel would, for me, the two best examples of female comic creators and comic characters at Marvel. They were strong. They wasn't. You know, they owned the book. They weren't told in a way where it was forced. It was a natural ownership of this is the book, and you enjoy it. You know, and it wasn't a nagging of I'm a lady, look what I can do. I'm a lady, look what I can do. It's look what they can do. They're just cool characters, and they're brilliant.
Have you been reading Fearless Defenders?
I haven't actually. I picked up an issue a little while ago because I was told it was got a big cameo, but that's the one I'm actually sort of waiting on, like a build-up as well. I was going to sit down and read that in a build-up. I should really be reading it.
That's very good. Speaking of decent female characters, it's great. Really, really, really good. One of my favourites, yeah.
I've heard endless good things about that as well.
Yeah.
And these are just brilliant examples of female characters. Me and Lucas were having this discussion a little while ago. To go on a little bit of a tangent, it was a few days ago actually, we was talking about the game Injustice Gods Among Us and how they're releasing the female characters, and we was talking about DC female characters. And for the longest while, I remember a lot of people praising DC because they had so many brilliant characters. But if you look at it truly, they're just rip-offs of their male characters. Whereas over at Marvel, you had apart from She-Hulk and Miss Marvel, who were Hulk and Captain Marvel, they do have, shall I say, original female characters who, even if they haven't got their own solo book, are kind of leading the force in the team books. Later on, when we talk about one of these mystery comics, for example, there's a whole issue dedicated to how strong and brilliant the female characters are of a team. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, that was me. That's me. I'm done. I'm going to hold off on the other stuff because some stuff contains spoilers. I don't want to spoil people on that fee. I don't want to spoil some of the stuff you're reading until you've read it. But yeah, that's me. We should move on. We should move on to films, guys. Do you want to do films?
Might as well. Film music time.
Lucas and Fee, have you both? Who's seen Wolverine?
I have.
Me.
I haven't.
Okay, Lucas, Fee, tell me and Sarah about Wolverine.
Alright, I'll give you guys a quick rundown of the plot, and then yeah. It takes place after the events of X-Men: The Last Stand. Wolverine's having crazy nightmares about murder at work, killing Jean Grey. He gets recruited. Well, not recruited, taken to some place in Japan so he can meet this guy that he met a few years ago. And this guy says, I can take away your healing factor if you give it to me. Wolverine says no, then finds out he's lost his healing factor, and then all kinds of wild shenanigans ensue.
As they do.
As they do.
What do you both think?
I thought that it was okay until it fell foul of that thing that seems to be happening all the time in Hollywood films at the moment, which is the third and final act. It fell over and almost wiped out all the good work that had sort of gone before it. Having said that, it's nowhere near as bad as some people are making it out to be. It's a vast improvement on Wolverine Origins. Hugh Jackman is fantastic as always. It's just that there's some strange decisions made with the villains. A couple of odd, I mean, Viper and Silver Samurai I'm talking about here, both of which are not, they're not dealt with very well, shall we say. But, you know, apart from it all going a bit stupid at the end, I actually did quite enjoy it. Thought it was okay. It's not brilliant. It's not quite the sort of fantastic, you know, Wolverine solo film I think a lot of people were expecting. But as long as you don't go in there expecting to see Claremont and Miller's Wolverine, then I think you can get something out of it. It's not Claremont and Miller's Wolverine, but then neither does it have to be. It's its own thing. Some things are going to work on film and some aren't. It's, you know, it's okay. It's not as bad as some people are saying, but the end is not great. But it's all kind of made up for by the end of credit scene, which is a little teaser for Days of Future Past, which was brilliant.
Well, my view on it, to be honest, it was okay. I wasn't really. There just seemed to like kind of be Wolverine and his kind of. I know it's called the Wolverine, but there wasn't enough of a focus on kind of like his supporting characters. You didn't kind of really get to know or care about anyone else. And also, I kind of had this whole thing that Wolverine was pretty much batshit crazy throughout the entire film. Because he kept having these dreams of Jean Grey telling him that it's okay to die and stuff. If I was having dreams about kind of some woman I killed dying, you're telling me to die, I'd be freaked out. But no, it's crazy. He's waking up like with his claws out. There's like a romance scene where I was really expecting him to like claw that Mariko chick, but he didn't. So yeah, it was alright. It wasn't great, but it was better than Origins.
I think that's across the board. That's what I'm hearing is don't go in expecting it to be anything like Origins, and don't go in expecting it to be the Miller Claremont Wolverine. It's something of its own thing, which I'm happy about.
Sorry, I was going to say, I seem to remember that I quite enjoyed Wolverine Origins, but it's been so long since I watched it. Is it pretty much universally hated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For good reason.
Yeah, good reason.
Is it anti-comic canon, or is it just a bad film? Because I mean, I watch any superhero stuff, so
elements of both, really. I remember going to see Origins at the cinema, and I remember thinking it was all right, and I didn't really understand why everyone hated it as much as they actually did. And it was really only on a second view. I think the first time I was sort of a little bit like, oh, Hugh, which, you know, is understandable, isn't it? But and then on a second viewing, it was like, oh yeah, like what, you know, this is actually not very good.
Yeah, it had Will.i.am in it trying to act. He's a lovely guy.
That's not even the worst thing. But
yeah, exactly.
It makes some very strange decisions with characters, which is very easy to see why comic fans get upset with it. I mean, what happens to Deadpool in it is
atrocious.
I need to watch it again.
It's horrible.
Yeah, and the CGI is really bad. It looks really cheap, and you know, really obvious, which I never noticed when I saw it the first time. I was having this conversation when it was on the telly again a couple of weeks ago. I ended up watching it again, and I said I couldn't believe that the film's only sort of 3 years old when you're looking at the CGI and everything. A lot of people were saying to me that they noticed it at the time when they went to see it at the cinema. I didn't notice it at the time, but God, it's so obvious now. It looks really, really poor, really dated.
Oh. I'll watch it again.
Give it a go. See what you think. It's not. I mean, Hugh Jackman, it was pretty good. Hugh Jackman.
He's always good.
He's always good as Wolverine. It's just there's other elements in there that I'd rather not watch it.
To be honest, I still quite like the Green Lantern film, and I know that's a big pile of crap.
No, I know a lot of people.
To be honest, right?
It's got bits in it, I like it.
I think it's not a bad film if you was going to go see it as like a serious thing. If you wanted to go see a film about a dude who can make green stuff, right?
Yeah.
Then yeah, it's fun. But if you was if you was like a Green Lantern fan and you went to go see it, you'd be like, oh, this shit is disgusting.
See, I'm sort of the other way around. I really like seeing like Oa and the other Green Lanterns, and those were the best bits of it for me. But as a film, I just think it's too much. It's too messy. They just put everything in there and they just cut out like half of it. Then we might have had a decent film, but I don't know. But I enjoyed it.
Fair enough. Okay, let's go on to our second movie. I know me and Lucas have seen this film. It's The World's End. It's the final in the Cornetto trilogy from Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, to go along with Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and now this. And it was their most grown-up-ish one. It was a little bit, had bleaker moments here and there, especially with some of the characters. But all in all, I loved it. I found it really well done. It is the same of what was come before, but it's obviously like Shaun and Hot Fuzz wasn't the same. It's not a rip-off. It's basically the premise of this one man sitting in a rehab centre, not sure, not told why he's there. He gets an idea. He's reminiscing on this night where him and his friends, last day of school, so their night was to do the Golden Mile with New Haven. 12 pubs, one night, get off your face, and it'd be brilliant. They never completed it, and years later, he comes up with this brilliant idea that he's going to try and chase that high of that one night by doing it again. The only thing is, his friends from the past don't like him anymore. They've grown up, moved on, got real jobs, and become adults. While he's sort of stayed in the past, he still drives the same car, wears similar clothes, tries to act like he did back then. He's not progressed. But he managed to rope them all in, and they go. And I've got to say, some call it slow going, but the first half was literally just them sort of sitting in a pub. Not first half, sorry. First little few bits. Sitting in a pub, having a drink, awkward moments. I actually enjoyed that because there's been many times where I've gone a night out like, I really don't want to be here. I really don't want to be with you. I don't want to be here. I don't care if you're my brother. I don't want to be here. And then you end up having a good night. But yeah, so then stuff starts happening. One awkward encounter in the bathroom, had many of those. And then shit happens. Shit hits the fan. And it's revealed that aliens are about. And I don't want to spoil it because I really want people to go see it. But it's brilliant. And it's weird and out there and action-packed, but underneath it, it's really brilliant characters. Like the main character, Simon Pegg's character, and Nick Frost's character, there's a sort of a darkness to them. And when it's revealed why Simon Pegg was in the rehab, even with the world ending around them and mayhem and chaos and all this, and they're in the centre of it, there's this moment of, shit, this is what's happened. And it's really sort of just a bit heartbreaking. It's like, oh man, shit, all this. And I don't want to spoil it, I don't want to tell you what it is because it is a really nice reveal, really well done. But I thought it was really lovely, and I'm a bit sad that this is the last in the trilogy, and I hope that
there'll still be films with them in it coming out that'll have similar, but not the same humour.
I hope so. I hope that they still do more to get together these three people because they've done really good stuff. And can I just say, I have done this review 3 times now. So if I'm babbling my way through some of this stuff, is because I've done it 3 times.
Yeah,
But anyway,
it's a fun film. It's a film about a bunch of mates who go out to like basically drink a lot of alcohol, and they end up fighting robots. And the film has got like one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen ever, and it takes place inside of a toilet.
yes, I've got to hand it to them, right? On a choreography
It just comes
kind
out of
style,
nowhere.
It does come out of nowhere, but the fight scenes are real, okay? When you see action films with fight scenes, they're like over-the-top karate. It's like, why is he know karate? Where does he learn that? They don't know karate. They literally just kick the shit out of each other in a brutal way, but also a humorous way, okay? When someone gets wrestling move like, is a rock bottom or whatever, into a toilet, okay, then you know oh man, there's a scene where someone slips in piss. In that same room, men are sliding around the floor, i.e. sliding in piss. If you can do a serious fight scene and slide around in piss in the same time, you've done something right. Piss sliding.
Yeah. No, there's also like another really good bit just when there's this whole fight scene that happens inside one of the pubs, and Simon Pegg is trying to drink his pint at the same time.
Yeah.
And so he's having this big massive fight, like trying to stop these guys from knocking his pint out of his hand. And then just at the very last moment, he can't drink his pint because one of the other guys gets into trouble. But yeah,
really, really well done.
It's a fun film, a bit of a dark ending, and a bit kind of depressing towards the end. But hey, all is fair in Love and Robot Wars.
Yeah, Robot Wars. Yeah.
Alright, so what's next on the agenda?
Alright, we've got Mystery Comics. Hey, propel us head first into your mystery books.
Okay, first one that I chose for you guys was the Madrox miniseries by Peter David, which was from mid-2000s, I can't remember the year, it's about 2005, I think, 2006.
Yeah.
And this was like the precursor to the current X Factor series, which is about to come to an end. And it's Madrox, otherwise known as the Multiple Man, or Jamie Madrox, who has decided to set up his own detective agency, and fancies himself as a little bit of a film noir style detective, where he goes off and investigates these mysteries or has clients come to him, and it's one of my favourite mini series, and I thought I'd get you guys to read it if you hadn't read it before, what with X Factor coming to a close and stuff. And Jamie Madrox is one of my favourite characters, and Peter David writes him so brilliantly, and I just think this mini series just shows that off fantastically. So what did you think?
I'll go first.
Go on, sir.
Yeah, Madrox. Yeah, I read the first issue. I wasn't massively excited about it, but I think that is probably because I don't really know the character. I don't have a lot of investment in the character, so I can see why it would appeal to other people who do know him and are fans of him. But it didn't really do a lot for me, and I did feel as I was reading it that I've seen similar sort of power sets before, just in terms of that somebody gets duplicated and each new bit and each new duplication body can go do something completely autonomously. And I was thinking about where I've thought about this. Xander in the Buffy series, he got split into like a really high achieving person and a slacker person, more slacker than usual. And then there's also the Impulse ongoing series at some point did have, I can't remember which issue it was, but it had actually Impulse being hit with a giant hammer of some sort that might not have been a real hammer, and he had lots of duplicates sent out that could go and like report back and came back to him within an hour or so. And then again there's other stuff in the Legion. So reading this Madrox book, I just thought I've seen this, I've read about it before, and there's not a whole lot here that's new for me.
You see, the thing I'll just going to counteract that with a bit, because the thing that makes Madrox is not actually his power; it's his personality. And then I mean, because you only read the first issue, I don't know whether you really get a chance to get a sense of him from that.
I didn't. Yeah, I don't think I did. get a lot of it. I mean, I usually really like Peter David. He's written some of my favourite series, so I was quite excited to see that it was on the list. But as it was, it didn't really do a lot for me, I'm afraid. But always good to read something new. So thank you.
I really enjoyed it. It felt like a TV show. If Marvel's do a TV show, this would be what it like, sort of feel of it. Love the mystery. I love the character of Madrox. I've always loved him. I've always loved the idea of being able to multiply. And I love what they do with his powers, in the sense that each multiple Madrox has its own personality. And when they come back, he can absorb their memories, which is really like... I don't think that had actually been introduced before. All this stuff that was in this book being introduced hadn't been done before. And I loved that it wasn't like he would make one that was like grumpy and one that was sleepy. It would be whatever he's thinking when he multiplies. So if he's doubting himself, the multiple dupe would have like a doubt and like a sort of like what's the point mentality and want to give up. But no matter what, he kept going and he kept pushing through it. And the character of Madrox, he was shown like this series does sum him up in this sort of, no matter what's thrown at him, he will keep going. And also I love the side story with it, with Wolfsbane, Strong Guy, and was there a third one? It was a dupe. It was the other dupe of Madrox, the one that had been left behind in New York to sort of run things. It was a really funny scenario of them doing their first sort of official case and botching it up in a brilliant way. But I loved it. I really did love it. As a person who's always loved the character, I love the development of him in that. How many issues were there? About 5? In the 5 issues, they've really developed him into what has been the status quo of Madrox so far.
Since,
and I'm kind of sad as well. Also, this was the first book where we saw X Factor itself, X Factor investigation, should I say. I'm kind of sad to see that after all these years, it is wrapping up. Although it is rumoured that it's going to be coming back in this original form of a government team. But either way, I'm sidetracking that. Really, really enjoyed it. Wish there was more. There kind of is more of this in the new Marvel stuff, of this more personality-driven, personality level sort of things, rather than here's a story. But I don't want this to leave what is now. I don't want X Factor to leave and not touch upon any of this again. I love the idea of it. And again, I'm bumbling my words. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, loved it. Definitely read it.
That's great. So the next one I had was Amazing Spider-Man Extra Issue 2. This is like they did sort of 3 of these, which were extra Amazing Spider-Man issues, sort of like in addition to the annuals and the usual series issues. Like we weren't getting enough at the time with like Amazing being out 3 times a week. So this is the second one of those that they did, and there's 2 stories in this issue, and it was the second story that I wanted you guys to read, which is called Birthday Boy. And that is by Zeb Wells, and the art is by Paulo Rivera. And I wanted you guys to read this one because this is one of my favourite Spider-Man and Wolverine stories. Well, probably my favourite Spider-Man Wolverine story. And this is where Spidey and Wolverine meet up on a cold night in New York, and Wolverine takes Spidey to a bar, which is sort of like full of lowlifes and degenerates. But Spidey's still in costume, so of course he's kind of like reluctant to go into the bar. And the reason I love this issue so much is because this, for me, is the defining issue that shows what the relationship is actually like and what it actually should be between Spider-Man and Wolverine. So many writers, for me, get the relationship wrong. I see it sort of not handled very well, especially, well, I say lately, but I mean up until the point where Peter carked it. They have a very special relationship. They're 2 completely opposite characters. Peter has the most moral centre and does not kill, and Wolverine is the complete opposite of that. And yet somehow they kind of like manage to meet in the middle and have this kind of like special kind of buddy relationship. And this issue is everything. His story, I should say, is everything that relationship is. So, Sarah, what did you think?
I loved it. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I didn't really know that Spidey and Wolverine had this great relationship, great friendship beforehand. But listen to what you've just been saying about why you like it. Although I might not know all the detail and all the background of it, that is the feeling that I got from it. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Everything about it was really good. Haven't got a bad word to say. Would happily read that again and again and again and again and again, and give it to other people to read and go, look, this is an example of what comics should be. It was great.
Oh, I'm so pleased to hear you say that, because that's exactly how I feel about it as well. And it's just sort of, I've given it to so many people to read, and you know, I think probably I've only had one person say something vaguely negative about it. It's such a good story, and Paulo Rivera's art is beautiful. He draws a fantastic Spider-Man, and he draws a brilliant Logan. It's just, I love everything about it. If you haven't read the story, you need to go and read it. Bert, what did you think?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because, like I said, it shows you what the relationship of Wolverine and Spider-Man is. It's also what I love about the Marvel Universe, is that these are not just people that team up and then go home. These are genuine buddies. They're mates, and they can have these moments of, let's go to the pub and chill out and get on. And for Wolverine and Spider-Man, it is a bit more special because I love that Spider-Man sees Wolverine as something more than everyone has come to expect and accepted of him, as this killer and this man that does what others can't do, whereas Spider-Man sees him as someone that has got a heroic heart and could be something more, and still sees him as that. But yeah, definitely love the whole idea of we are mates, we do things when we're not at work, and we chill out. And I love, you know, even from things like going to the pub, or even when you see Reed Richards and Tony Stark playing chess, there's always these moments of we are buddies. And like I said, the best way to show that is with Wolverine and Spider-Man, who are probably the two best buddies. Wolverine's got a lot of friends. There's two people I love seeing him team up with and sort of have these moments with. That's Nightcrawler and Spider-Man, because they've got so much like banter with them and so much like humour and friendship and love for each other. And there is that like sort of love-hate relationship of, you know, you annoy the shit out of me, but I love you, and you're a grumpy old man, but I love you. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. That it's exactly that, and that's why it makes me sad when I see writers who don't have quite the right handle on this relationship. And I just think like anybody who is going to be writing these two characters should be issued this story, or should be made to read this story first before they attempt to write any kind of relationship between the two, so that they have an understanding of what it actually is. You know, they have a bit of banter. They sort of bounce off each other now and again, and they'll be, you know, they might make the odd sort of like snidey comment to each other or whatever, but underneath it all, deep down, they are friends. You know, and they have a mutual respect for each other, despite the fact that they're on polar opposite sides of the sort of moral spectrum, if you like.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it's a perfect comic story. You know, Zeb Wells is fantastic. But you said to me before, if Dan Slott wasn't writing Spider-Man, which technically he's not actually at the moment, but if he wasn't writing Spider-Man, who else would I like to see write Spidey? And it would be Zeb Wells for me. I love the way that he writes Peter, so yeah, definitely. So moving on to my third and final choice, which was one that I just sort of chucked in for, well, I don't know, maybe you can tell me, which was New Avengers Annual 3 by Brian Michael Bendis and Mike Mayhew is the artist. And this issue is from the Dark Reign era, when Norman Osborn has taken over the Marvel Universe to sort of become the top cop after the events of Secret Invasion, and has put together his own team of Avengers who were referred to as the Dark Avengers. And has driven all of the actual Avengers sort of underground, and Clint, Hawkeye, or Clint is actually Ronin at this point in time, I think, has had enough of seeing Norman, the Green Goblin, out there running the show, and decides to go on television and tell the world that Norman Osborn is the Green Goblin. And then the Dark Avengers, Norman and his Dark Avengers, Clint then decides that he's going to go and track down Norman and the Dark Avengers, and they capture him. And it's down to a group of female superheroes, including Jessica Jones, Spider-Woman, Bobby Morse, who's Clint's wife at the time, Mockingbird, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, and they all have to get together and go and rescue Clint from being an idiot, really, because he's gone off to go and do something stupid, as if Clint would ever do anything stupid.
I bet I can tell you why you picked it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Is it because you get to see Mockingbird and her pants and bra?
It's absolutely, it's nothing to do with the fact that Clint spends the first few pages with no clothes on.
Yeah, getting sort of straddled by Venom and stuff. Yeah, alright, yeah. Tied to a chair, butt naked. Why didn't I not see that? I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed a lot of, sort of 50% of Dark Reign itself, and some of that was coming from the Avengers. At the time, I remember being a bit annoyed, like, Clint, you don't kill people, you twat face, Bendis ain't writing him right, and all this fanboy stuff. But at the same time, I did like it, because if you read the story, you would see that he was fed up, he had enough, and he done what every man would do, and just do something silly when he's angry. And it was really nice. It was a really nice showcase of the female members of the team at the time just going, right, we better stop this Wally from getting himself killed.
Yeah. Just to chip in on what you said there, I was the same as you. I was like, what is going on here? Because Clint would not, he makes a point of all the time, of saying, he doesn't kill. He wouldn't do that. That's just fundamentally not part of his character. So to see him sort of going, right, that's it, I've had enough, I'm going to go and bump off Norman Osborn, doesn't sort of, sit well with his character. But the way you just described it is absolutely right. And I think it fits really well with Fraction's current vision of Hawkeye, in that he would get angry and then go off and do something really stupid, and then only sort of think about what he was actually doing afterwards. Yeah. If you get what I mean, sort of fits in with that vision of the character.
And obviously you had the big reveal at the end of the issue of which was sort of spoiled at the time, because I can't remember what order it came out, but I think it actually spoiled the ending of Captain America Reborn, and the reveal was Captain America was back from the dead, in a pointing at the audience in a Uncle Sam style, we're gonna sort this shit out. Cap's back with his eyebrow raised and his face all squared, pointy finger and big chin.
Yeah.
What's that actually say so?
I'll jump in now. Talking of that. It got to the end of this issue, and most of it I was thinking, well, the art's really pretty, but I think it's the same problem I had with Mad Drops, is that I'm not that invested in the characters, so I wasn't that fussed about them. The one I'm most familiar with would be Hawkeye from the Fraction series out at the moment. And the others are I can see what you're doing, but I'm really not that fussed about it. And my strong reaction was that little page with Captain America, just, as you say, just his face and his eyebrow, and he just sort of it's like he's just waltzed in and he said, right, I'm here, you're all going to do what I say. Now, when I first read it, I didn't realise he'd come back from the dead, and this was his first reveal to the Marvel Universe, hence all the surprised faces. But now I know that, thinking about it, I just think that's a really dickish thing to do. Not even hi, I'm back. You thought I was dead, but I'm all right, and now I need your help. You need to come do stuff with me. It's just walks in and tells everyone what to do, and I really don't like that. I think that's the element of Captain America that I've always thought he's kind of really dictatorial. And I just got to that bit and was like, oh my god, I hate this character. And then actually ended up watching the Captain America film again recently and going, no, I like this version of the character. And I've read some other stuff and was like, no, I can get him. I really hated that last panel. That last
Yeah,
page.
that last panel, I don't think that last panel was a fair representation of the character at all, if that's what you inferred from it, because that's not
Yeah.
slightest. It's don't get me wrong, like he's a great leader and everything, and when he needs to be a leader, he is a leader, and people listen
Yeah.
to him and look up to him and respect him. But he's
There was-
definitely not the sort of like dictatorial
Yeah.
leader. He's just definitely not. That's not his character at
You've
all.
got to look at it. Sorry, go on, Sarah.
I was going to say, yeah, there was nothing, the way he just came in, especially as you've said, how he comes in, that isn't to me somebody who inspires respect. It's not, okay, I know the film probably isn't the same as the comics, but I've read a few things about Captain America in the comics, I'm not really that bothered. But the guy in the film, I don't think would stride into a room like that and that be his introduction, and I want to read more about the guy in the film. So, yeah, anyway.
Well, you got to look at it. At the time, you need to understand, like, it was a year's worth of the superheroes were being beaten down and worn out, and because Dark Reign literally touched every Marvel comic, and it showed you how the heroes were losing and the villains were winning, and there was no little bit of light. People were getting hunted, people were getting killed. It was really, really bleak. So that panel at the end it looks like an aggressive, right, we're going to sort this. But it was more of a sigh of relief of, oh, thank God.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
So
and it was... Sorry, go on.
But I expect it works better if you've been following the Marvel events at that time and knew the issues and the characters, everything worked together, but to me, fell flat.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good example of a moment where you needed the context of it to get it. But and I just wanted to say just sort of one last thing about the art, which is by Mike Mayhew, and I really like it. I think it's beautiful. I think Mike Mayhew's art is really nice. It's definitely a realist type of art. It's sort of like almost like a photo realist type of art. But he draws a beautiful naked Clint. So for that, I'll give him.
I agree.
Yeah.
Special.
I agree as well.
But okay, so it is now time for questions.
Question time. Ba-da-da-da-da-da.
Thank you, Lucas. That was beautiful.
It's like a rip-off of McDonald's.
Yeah. Well, we've done all of the soap theme tunes, so
Next week will be Casualty.
yeah, we want something else. So I have for you this week, I have a superhero question special. So starting with, this is question number 1. Who, in your opinion, do you think has the worst superpower? So any superhero from any publisher, who do you think has got the worst superpower?
Right, for me it's easy. It's Doorman from the Great Lake Avengers, who's a teleporter, okay? Now, remember, a teleporter is go from one space to another in a jump. His was be the room next door. That's as far as he could teleport.
So that's like the rest of us then. If you open a door,
so we can but rather than open the door, he was the door.
Right.
So he could stand up against the door, and I think, if I remember, people could walk through him, and that would be him teleporting. He was a door, okay? That's named Doorman. He was a door. That's not a good power to be.
Awful. Shocking.
Yeah, big time shocking. I feel sorry for the guy. In fact, there was a really cool scene where they're going into New York to recruit new members, and there's this guy in this mechanical grasshopper suit who's like, yeah, I'll join you, sure, yeah, I'm really excited. These bandits attack. Someone throws a sigh at Doorman. He phases. It goes straight, he teleports, which basically just means he phases. It goes straight through him and kills the poor bugger behind him in the grasshopper suit. Instantly. Just as he's joined the team. He was a member of the team for like 30 seconds. The power was useless. It wasn't even like, I'll teleport it over to there. It was like, no, I'm going to let it go through me and kill a guy. I feel sorry for the guy for having a bad power. But he teleports, he's a door.
That's pretty bad. I think mine, right, I've got a couple, but my first one comes from a comic that we were discussing just a couple of months ago, just a few short weeks ago, which was Avengers Assemble, where, oh God, I've forgotten the name of the guy who took on the writing duties. Can you remember, Bert? British guy is going to come to Al Ewing.
Al Ewing, yes.
Yeah, and he wrote 2 issues of Avengers Assemble, and one of which featured a character called Magic Boots Mel, whose
the most racist character in the world.
Yeah, whose superpower was to dribble a ball really well.
Anything, it was dribble anything.
Dribble
she
whatever.
could play
Yeah.
football really good.
And that was her superpower.
She almost saved the world by kicking things.
Really bad, but that for me is definitely the worst one. But then there's a couple of others that are like some of the new mutants in Wolverine and the X-Men and stuff. Eye Boy, who's covered in eyes.
I seriously think he'd be the best security guard you could ever have.
Rubbish, just rubbish.
Can you see through his clothes?
Well, I don't know, but he's got eyes everywhere.
Wait, is he like, when you say everywhere, do you mean everywhere?
Yeah, like the palm of his hands, the forehead, the back of his head, the neck.
Cheeks.
Probably,
I'm thinking about all the horrible places.
Come on, let's not go that far. Why you got to take it? I'll tell you what, he's rubbish, but if those eyes could shoot laser beams, you'd want him on your team.
Well, yeah, but he doesn't. He's just got eyes, so therefore it's rubbish.
Shooting between his butt cheeks.
It'd be even better if all of his eyes had like they could like short distance and all that. He had to wear glasses on all of his eyes. That would be so good. Contact lenses.
Rubbish. That's way up there. In fact, there's so many of the new mutants that are just absolutely crap. It's like, have you really run out of ideas?
Yeah, like Bob Herman.
Yeah, I'll come on to him later. And Shark Girl, who's like a girl who can turn to shark.
I'm gonna still argue on you. That's a really good power jab.
It's rubbish.
Walking down the street, someone pulls a knife out. Give me your money. No, nom. What happened? I at him.
Yeah, rubbish. Anyway, that's mine.
Okay, the whole worst super, can it be from anything?
Yeah, anything.
Yeah, any publisher.
Okay, right, there was this film I watched when I was younger called Sky High, which was this awful superhero school movie.
I
right?
remember that.
And there's this dude who can glow in the dark.
Yes.
And this chick who can turn into a pile of sludge.
And another one that can turn into a hamster.
Yeah, get those, you know...
Mighty Morphin hamster powers.
Yeah. I suppose the other worst superpower would be Batman's. It's true, Batman has a superpower. It's called super self-control. It's the ability to not kill his rogues gallery after everything they've done. So yeah,
his
that's a pretty bad
superpower's so
superpower.
bad, he hasn't really got one. That's how bad he is at superpowers.
But yeah, so that's that.
Yeah, good. Okay, next one then. So,
Sarah, did Sarah
Oh,
go?
yeah.
Sorry, Sarah, you haven't done yours. Sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was thinking about them. Anybody from the Legion? Well, not anybody from the Legion, because I suppose some of them, their powers are useful. And this one I'm actually going to steal from Nev's, because we were having a discussion about this a while ago. Arm fall off boy. His power is that his arms fall off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why I hate the Legion.
That is so up there.
It's just terrible.
Imagine
terrible.
him and iBoy teaming up. Arms falling off everywhere, eyes looking at everything. It's like, can just what? And he's like, an iBoy will just one arm fall off, boy, every time an arm's falling off. Like, oh, I see that one on my elbow. Go on, mate, pick it up.
Yeah.
Be weird.
Crappy. Anyway.
Okay, so next question. On the flip side of who has the worst superpower, who has the best superpower? I suppose really this question is, if you could have a superpower, what would it be? Because you're gonna pick what you think is the best, aren't you?
I'm gonna think smart about it, so I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'd be Superman, or I'd be the Hulk, or I'd be Thor. I'd be more practical, okay? And I'm lazy, so I'd probably have teleporting, or maybe like duplication. Because how many times have you gone, oh, I wish I didn't have to do this? You know, you could just go, oh, I don't. Click your fingers, and there's another one of you that can go and do it. Or sometimes, this is me thinking in real life, okay? I've stood there on the tram or the bus after a long day, and I've actually thought, oh man, I wish I could shrink and just sit on the bar that people hold on to.
Because you want to be Ant-Man, basically.
No, it's because I just want to be able to sit on the bar when all the seats are taken, that yellow bar people hold on. just sit there and just chill out until my stop comes, or just grow and walk it, not be lazy. But yes, sort of, I want to be Ant-Man as well.
Yes.
I just want my Ant-Man's powers are the best. Okay. Shut up. Got on, you guys.
Best superpower. Do you know what? I was originally just gonna be like a cop out and just be like, hey, what about one of those like big eternity beings, you know, like reality whatever's. But no, I'm just gonna go personally, like kind of who I think is the best. I think Spider-Man, because you can stick to walls and you have a danger sense and super strength and speed and agility and you can stick to walls.
You said
and you have it
twice.
I know, because hands and feet. But he's got spider sense. You can tell when danger's coming your way. Flip out. It'd just be cool. That's just my like a personal opinion.
Can I just sort of say, if I wouldn't mind wings. Sorry, I just thought of something. I wouldn't mind some wings.
I'd web your wings.
You would web my wings because you're a dick. I could imagine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
go
Other
on.
than that, maybe I wouldn't mind being like maybe like a telepath. Telepaths are cool.
Yeah, I think
that's too risky.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's. I was thinking about that. So I was thinking like, you know, it'd be cool to be like Professor X or Emma Frost or whatever, and have telepathy and bend people to your will and stuff. But then I was thinking like, yeah, what if you started like finding out about things that you know that people were thinking that you didn't really want to know about and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think that would be. I don't think that would be mine. I think I might have to go with the boring old. If I wasn't going to go for teleportation, so that you could just instantly be anywhere. You know, like if I want to go to New York, I could just go there straight away. That would be quite good. But if I wasn't going to have that, then I think I'd go for the age-old classic of invisibility. Just so that I could just go wherever I want, whenever I want. I can
on anyone.
Yeah, I can walk into. Well, exactly. I can watch whoever I like. I can walk into gigs for free. I can get into stuff for free. I could disappear when I don't want people to talk to me. I can ride on public transport for free. So
You've thought about this a lot more than me. I'll literally just go straight to I'd perv on people and end it there. You've actually gone to like practical stuff.
yeah.
I think that says something about us. It means that you are not a pervert, but I am.
But you know that I am though. So
I know that you are. Yeah, he's perv.
Sarah?
I'd want flight. Whether it was, I mean, if I've got a choice, I want wings. I've always wanted wings, like Angel.
Yes.
Yeah, I just ever since I was a kid, it's like, you know, when you're young, you go, oh, when I grow up, I'm gonna get my mutant superpower. It's gonna sprout. It's gonna happen. I'm still insanely disappointed that hasn't happened. Apparently, I don't understand reality. But yeah, flight with wings. That's what I want.
Cool. Okay, so next one. Who's got the worst superhero name?
Oh man.
So they might have powers, but they might have a terrible name.
I've got one straight away. Go on straight away. It was in Suicide Risk, and it was some hero who got taken out straight away. Called, wait for it, Extended Remix. Yeah, Extended Remix. I'll say it one more time. Extended Remix.
That's bad. Well, I've got loads, but there's right. Well, we've already mentioned Fall Off Boy, which is his actual name, and then there's Paste Pot Pete.
Oh yes, don't call him Paste Pot Pete. He's Trapstar.
But yeah, he's
Trapstar.
But he's not really. He's still Paste Pot Pete.
Yeah, he's always going to be that.
And then there's so many X-Men, right? There are so many minor X-Men characters, and I'm just going to run through a list of some of the worst ones, right? Marrow, Maggot,
Oh god, yeah.
Gentle, Blindfold, Bling, Primal, rubbish, Glob, which we mentioned earlier on, sorry, Glob Herman, Eye-Boy, Shark Girl, because I couldn't think of anything else to name her, and Triage is one of the new ones. Awful. All of them are terrible. Really bad. Not only have they got good powers, but they ran out of good names as well. So yes, go on Sarah, sorry.
I originally was going to continue on a theme and say anybody from the Legion superheroes because they're all ridiculous, and then I just this second remembered a villain who was an enemy of somebody called Coagula, who was from the Doom Patrol, who group of misfit superheroes, had accidents, got powers. in DC's universe. And for a little while in the 90s, I think it was, Coagula came along, and she got a villain. I was reading the comic this came in, and I just couldn't quite believe what I was reading. So he's called the Codpiece, right? He doesn't like women at all. So he's got issues about women not wanting to have sex with him because he's an idiot, and he then went sort of personal himself with Codpiece. And he has devices like a gun, a drill, and a spring-loaded boxing glove built into his special Codpiece that he decides. And then he uses this, and obviously he's fighting Coagula, she's a woman, but like as he uses, it's a boxing glove coming out of his groin.
That's amazing.
I can imagine him doing like a really hard thrust, like, and then he's like, knocks him out.
He was. It is. This Doom Patrol series by oh god, what's her name? Rachel Pollack. It's brilliant. It is really, 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 really good. And then she invented this codpiece film. Fab. Read it if you can.
Okay, I'm tempted to go to back into Great Lake Avengers and go for Flat Man.
Oh.
And his powers was being like, imagine Reed Richards, but flat. And his name was Flat Man. And Steamroller Man. And it was a fun visual, but just an unimaginable name, Flat Man and Doorman. To be honest, I'm going to rope both of them in. I'm going to go back to that world. And also, their other member, Big Bertha, who, if anyone remembers, was a supermodel by day, but she could make herself super fat, which gave her like Hulk-like strength. But then to become unfat, she would throw up. That's a
horrible reference to bulimia.
Yeah, I know. Dan Slott. Just so you know.
Remember that? Yeah.
It was a bulimia reference, but Flat Man for me, I think. Having the name Flat Man.
Yeah.
Oh no, Triathlon from the Avengers. Why is he called Triathlon? Because he's got the strength of 3 men and the speed of 3 men and everything of 3 men.
That's not how triathlons work.
I know. Or 3D Man. Do you remember 3D Man?
Yeah, 3D Man, yeah.
And he had 3D glasses.
Yeah.
And he could see aliens. His power, right? It was the old guy, and then he would activate his glasses, and his younger brother, who was trapped in the 3D glasses, would emerge and kick aliens in. Oh, Silver Age. I love it. Yeah, so either one of those for worst name.
Okay, so again, and then on the flip side of that, who's got the best name?
Oh, I don't know.
Everyone. I've got, right.
Mine's not really go on for me.
No, go on, because you do yours first.
Mine's not a superhero. Mine is actually, I can't really think of like a best superhero, but I can think of a best supervillain name.
Okay, yeah, go on.
Which is Doctor Doom. Because even his actual name, Victor Von Doom, what personifies supervillain more than the name Doctor Doom? He is the Doctor of Doom. It's a great name. If he was a hero, it wouldn't work, but for
the only thing that takes away from that is he's not got a PhD.
It's actually true. Unless, well, then again, he's the monarch of Latveria, so he can make himself have a PhD.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, so it's Doctor Doom.
Good.
Other than that, just other people with just kind of plain names, just kind of say what they are. It's the best superhero name. A name that describes you and your abilities, kind of.
I like some of my favourites. I like Mystique because it kind of does evoke what she does a little bit, because you never really quite know who she is, because she's a shapeshifter. That could have come out wrong. If you're going to go like villain, you can't really beat General Zod, can you? Just kind of works, doesn't it?
That does work. General Zod.
It just kind of works.
Yeah.
And then probably my all-time favourite is Fing Fang Foom.
Boom! Yes.
Fing Fang Foom.
Oh, you know what? That reminds me of
Just try to not enjoy saying Fing Fang Foom. It's impossible.
Who was the villain who had the bell-shaped head? Was it Dong?
This is Dr.
Bong or Dong?
Dr. Bong.
And he would hit his head and make frequencies that could like kill you.
Yes, and he had his head was like a bell.
Yeah. Maybe he's up for all of these. Worst power, best power, worst name and best name.
You might be right.
Oh god. I know, if I had to go for someone, I'd, like Lucas said, keep it simple, like Beast or Angel. You know?
Iron Man, a guy
Iron
in
Man.
not iron suit.
Yeah. Or Ant-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, Ant-Man. Ant-Man's really good. There's something about it. Or Goliath. Or Yellow
Yeah,
Jacket.
Ant-Man or Yellow Jacket Goliath. They
Or
all
Giant Man, yeah.
Batman is such a great name.
I don't know, I'm not too sure. No. Don't really like it. No.
I think it's better than Ant-Man.
No, I don't know. I think Ants win.
Bat's a bit more intimidating.
No.
Let's change the subject.
Yeah, I thought we was going to get into this then.
Well, that's it. That brings us to the end of our superhero question special.
Yeah, and our giant-sized episodes, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that we have literally panicked and struggled for the last 3 weeks because of Ultron and bloody robots. Yeah, see, Lucas says yeah, because he's actually behind it, I think. I think Lucas is the one behind it. But this is it. This has been BAMF. This has been the big show, and we're returning as normal, guys, so don't panic. This should literally, hopefully, be the first of many more. Yeah, so let's wrap up. We have been BAMF. I've been Bertie. Over there's been Lucas. Over there's been Fee. And over there's been Sarah. Say bye, guys.
Bye.
And don't forget, okay, guys, you can talk to us on Twitter, Radio BAMF, on Tumblr at Radio BAMF, on Facebook at BAMF Comic Book Radio, and our website, wearearcade.com, where you can check us out, and you can also check our cousin, sister, whatever you want to say, family member, Anime UK. Don't forget also, via these mediums, you can ask us questions, like the ones we just answered and enjoyed answering. We love hearing from you. Give us your questions, your comments, suggestions. If there's something you think we should check out or something you think we've missed, let us know. Talk to us. We'll talk back. Okay? And that's it. We love you loads. See you later, alligators.
www.wearearcade.com